I'm your host, Tanner Natsky. This is an exciting episode. One, if you're watching online or if you're seeing this in a reel, we have new gear. And so as you guys are sharing this episode, which you do very, very well, and I appreciate you for that, our gear, our logo will now be able to be seen by other college individuals, other young professionals, other people looking to grow and get better, not only in this industry, but beyond. So new gear, I'm excited for it. We're going to be switching up different colors. Hunter and I both have some gear that shout out Iowa City Apparel, they made for us. Another thing here with us today, we got a new mic setup. Not sure if you guys can hear the quality difference on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but this is something that is very important that we continue to grow for you. Hopefully the background noise here is negated a little bit. Hopefully the sound quality is better for you. And so Hunter and I were praying before the episode like we usually do. And I said, Lord, not a lot of sports sales individuals are learning about sound here. What is it, Saturday morning that we are recording. So we struggled this morning to get this thing up and running. It only took us about 3 hours. So we're back up and running. But today's an exciting day for us. The reason today's exciting is because next week's episode is one that you need to listen to. I don't care if you listen to this episode or other episodes. I would love it if you did, and I would love it if you shared it with others. But next week's is the only one that you absolutely need to listen to. We have one of the top people in the sports industry, and also he is a warrior in business. Happens to be right underneath Jerry Jones. If you don't know who Jerry Jones is, he happens to be the person who runs probably the biggest sports franchise in America, which is the Dallas Cowboys. And yes, we have Jerry Jones's right-hand man coming to you next week, and we are very excited for that. Today's episode, the purpose of today's episode is to walk through the process of an internship. A lot of individuals currently are walking from this college stage into an internship. We try to think and talk about relevant topics for you during the time that this releases. We understand that people are going to listen to this after us, and that is awesome. I hope that people listen to this for years to come, and we will never go away. You're stuck with me. I'm here forever. A lot of individuals are walking into an internship right now, so that's what we're talking about this topic today. We have 7 topics that we're going to walk through today on why internships are important, what you should be doing when you get an internship, and what you should truthfully not be doing in some cases as well. 7 different topics today, and I know that there's one in here that you are not going to like. Get ready, because you are not going to like one of these 7 topics that we're talking about today, and I'm excited to hear from you on which one you don't like. First things first, find out what you don't like. Find out what you don't like. We talked a little bit about this last week, and we're going to bring it back up just slightly again today, because I believe personally there is a greater value in finding out what you don't like versus finding out exactly what you like, especially in an internship. Again, this episode is painted towards internships. In an internship, you are not 8 or 10 years down the road looking for that perfect job. This is an investment, and we're going to talk about investments later on. This is a time of your life where you need to weed out the bad and then figure out exactly what you're doing. Another way you can think of this is a phenomenal fielder in baseball. Okay, give me my baseball guys, girls, softball players. Where are you guys at? If you have a phenomenal fielder and you are one of the best fielders in baseball or softball, but you cannot hit, if you know hitting is what is going to prohibit you from getting to the next level, would you continue to just work on fielding? Or would you challenge yourself to get into the cages and learn how to hit? Learn different techniques, batting stances, how to read pitches, and things of the like. Right? If you're the best fielder in the world, but you can't hit worth a lick, no college softball team is going to find you. No college softball team is going to want you. No MLB team is going to be scouting you. It's the same in internships. If you're absolutely phenomenal at marketing, but you have absolutely no idea how the finance industry works, why would you not walk into a different path to learn from different managers? The good news is, if you can identify what you don't want, knowing what you do want is within your reach, right? Because to perceive anything, there must be contrast between two different states, right? To know that something is unwanted, we must actually know that something else is wanted instead, right? They serve as reference points for each other. In the world today, if I go up to a random person, this is crazy. I actually listened to a podcast and they have statistics about it, and I don't. So I'm just going to go off the cusp and go into what they talked about. If you go up to a random person on the street today and ask what they want in life, they will most likely tell me that they don't want something. Hey, what do you want in life? Well, I really, really don't want to be broke. Hey, what do you want in life? Well, I really, really don't like working from home. Hey, what do you want in life? Man, I hate living in cold weather. None of those actually answer the question, because our brain is actually wired to work that way. Our brain is a protection mechanism against bad things in the world, against bad instances in the world. A lot of it comes back to our fight or flight responses from when a long, long time ago in our human history, we literally had to sit in caves and protect ourselves and our families and the people around us in our communities from dying because of the wild animals. That is actually where it comes from. I know that sounds woo-woo-y and going back to the, 12th century, but that's what it is, right? Think if you have a significant other and you go up to them, you're like, hey, Callie and I do this all the time. That's why I'm thinking about it. Hey, Cal, what do you want for dinner? She goes, hey, Tanner, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, well, I don't really want to go out tonight. Okay, what do you want? Well, definitely not anything greasy like pizza or something like that. Okay, what do you want? I'm really not feeling sushi. Okay, what do you want? Well, I really, really don't want to order takeout because I don't want to go anywhere. Okay, none of that. Just explain what I want. And that is how the world works today. So why are we not doing that in internships? Right? Figure out what you don't want so that you can figure out what you do want. Second point, understand how location affects your internship opportunities. I'm going to talk at this from two different points. One, from a point of, if you are in a state, we listed a couple: Iowa, Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, the Dakotas, which is 2 states for those of you who don't know where those are. It's North and South Dakota. I'm talking to all you East Coast people out there that don't know how to read a map. Connecticut, Vermont, Rhode Island. All of these states don't have pro sports teams in them. Some of them have minor league teams. Some of them do not. So understand, if you're in one of those states, you are going to have to travel outside of the state for an internship for a professional sports team. In the same regard, if you're going into finance or marketing, what companies are around you? Are you going to have to go outside of your location? Are you going to have to go outside of your state or your region to go find something, right? On the flip side, here in Arizona, if you live in Phoenix and go to ASU, you have 3 major sports teams at your disposal. And all of them, Diamondbacks and Suns are literally 2 blocks from each other. And the Cardinals' offices are in Tempe, so they're 15 minutes from both of us. So if you go to school at Arizona State, which is in Tempe, Arizona, you have the Cardinals right down the road, and you have the Diamondbacks and Suns 15 minutes from you. So you don't have to go very far, right? And some colleges actually partner with pro sports teams. The University of Miami has a feeder program directly to the Miami sports teams, being the Marlins, the Suns, the Heat, the Panthers, right? That's important. It's important to understand how your location affects your internship opportunities. Because you might need to expand. If you're in those states that we mentioned earlier, you might need to expand your thought process. You might need to expand your reach because you might not have the opportunities, and that's okay. And actually, I love that because I was in that position. I love getting uncomfortable. You guys know this very well. Callie hates when I say it all the time because, well, not hates when I say it all the time, but gets a little bit annoyed because I literally say it all the time. This is a side story, and I don't even think I've told Hunter this yet. We got a new water heater here, which is great because we just bought this place in a year and we had to replace the water heater. So that was cool. The water doesn't get cold enough for me to take cold showers anymore. And so I literally got out, like after the water heater was replaced, I got out and I was like, man, that sucks. I can't do cold showers anymore. And Cal's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I can't get better. Like I'm super comfortable where the shower's all the way cold. Like I could just sit there all day and take a shower because it's actually not that cold. So I genuinely love being out of my comfort zone. That's where you go. I traveled to DC for my first internship, right? Way out of my comfort zone from a Midwest farm kid. I paid $1,400 a month in rent that I truthfully just did not have, right? And I still lost money, even though I worked for Buffalo Wild Wings every single hour that they were open, that I wasn't working for the Nationals, and I got paid doing my internship, right? So understand how that affects where you're at. If you're in high school right now, if you're in college right now looking for an internship, if you just graduated, because if you listen to episodes prior and you graduate without a job, an internship is a great start. It's not a step back. It is a phenomenal start to your career. And this applies to you as well. So understand what those dynamics look like. For me personally, I needed to get out of the state of Iowa because there were no professional sports teams there. So I knew that I had to travel somewhere. I knew that I had to be uncomfortable. I also had to be okay with the fact that I was going to lose money. This is a hot topic because everybody right now wants to get an internship to make money. Listen up right now. Internships are not about making money. Internships are about investing in your future career. That is what an internship is about. And a lot of you probably are shaking your head right now in disagreement. Well, how am I gonna pay for rent where I'm at? How am I gonna go out and have fun with my friends? How am I gonna pay for gas or my car? Or my new watch or new shoes? How am I gonna pay for them? Guess what? Maybe you can't. And that's okay. My grandfather saved up his whole life to give his grandkids a little bit of money at the end of college graduation. I think it was like $5,000. Actually, I think it was like 4,700. I don't know the exact number. It was somewhere around there. I knew that I was going to be so far in debt. It was $1,400 a month to live there. Times 3 months is what? 30, 4,200, $4,200 just to have a roof over my head. And so I went to my family and I was like, basically tail between the legs. I had to swallow the pride a little bit, like, hey, I'm going to need some help. My grandpa's like, actually, I've been saving up my whole life. I was going to give it to you at graduation. It's in an account right now. I was like, I need it now, please. Can I? And so that was able to cover some of my cost. So I had to go between my tail between my legs and ask for help, set my pride aside, and that's okay. Because it's not about making money in an internship. It's actually the exact opposite. And I knew I was going to figure it out. Even if my grandpa wasn't able to help me, I was going to figure it out. Next week's guest, here's a plug for next week. That's a good one. Next week's guest talks about just that. Sometimes you just have to trust that your hard work, your preparation will allow you the opportunity to succeed. As a very strong Christian, we believe that God will provide in all instances. One, because he has proven it in my life and in Hunter's life and in Callie's life. And two, it is actually written in the Bible. Like that is about as factual as it gets. So I knew I was going to figure it out. If you're an internship right now and you're like, I can't go across the world right now to go to an internship, I know it's going to catapult my career and I'm going to learn, but like I might only make $500, and if I stay here at home, oh boy, I'm about to offend some people. I can't go across. Come on, hold it together. I can't go across the country to catapult my career and start my career and invest in my future because I have to stay home and hang out with my brothers and sisters and my mom and dad while mom and dad works all day and I'm going to be working all day, and I could make $1,200 this summer. I could make $4,000 this summer instead of going across the world making $0 but investing for my future. And guess what? When I graduate, because I actually never made it out, I never went elsewhere. I always just stayed home. Now I get to stay home for the next 2 or 3 years of my life because I don't know what the world is like. And all it cost me was my career. But guess what? I did make a couple $1,000s those 2 or 3 summers at home. And I did save money sleeping in my childhood bed. Some people are not going to like that segment. And that's okay. I'm not here to help. Or I am here to help. I'm not here to cater to every single person. I'm here to help and to say real and raw opportunities, because we have found that this industry, that sports industry, that career paths blossom when you get outside of your comfort zone. When you get outside of where you grew up. I'm not saying I don't even know where you guys are growing up, where you're listening to this. Wherever it is, get outside of it. If you're in the Midwest, go somewhere south. If you're on the East Coast, go to the West Coast. If you're in the West Coast, go to the Midwest. I don't care where it is, but get outside of where that is, especially in internships. Oh my goodness, that's the greatest opportunity, because when I went to DC, I was scared. Can we use that little bleeper button we got now? I was scared shitless. Like I was, because I was getting outside of everything that I knew, but I knew that at the end of 3 months, I was coming back to Iowa, where I was going to be comfortable. I knew that at the end of 3 months, I was coming back, regardless of where it was. I remember going out there and being like, this could be the worst 3 months of my life. But guess what? At the end of 3 months, I'm coming back. Why would you not get out right now? Because if you don't get out right now and you don't go elsewhere for internships right now, and now you want to start a career, well, guess what? Now you got to sign a year lease at the very bare minimum. Now you're in a career path where once you start jumping jobs in a career path, employees look at that a little bit differently. Now, if you have 3 or 4 internships, that's actually a positive. But if you have 3 or 4 jobs in the first 3 or 4 years, that's a negative. So why would you not get out right now and go do an internship elsewhere? Because you know you're coming back and people look at it as a positive. Whew. That was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Purpose of an internship. Understand the business. Whatever business that is, understand it. If you're going to do marketing, go find out what game operations does. If you're going to coach, go find out what finance does. Who books the travel for the team? If you're going to do sales, go find out what HR does. One of the best conversations that I had that opened my eyes was actually having a conversation with my HR manager about what he did when I was in Miami. And I respect him so much. I respect him so much because of what he does. HR is way more than just like signing paychecks, making laws that nobody likes in the company, and walking around and telling you not to chew gum and work at the same time. HR is one of the best professions that we have, and every company needs them. But I would never have known that if I would not have sat down and asked questions. An internship is also, in my opinion, one of the greatest times to ask extremely high-level executives what they do for work and why. Once you get into a company and you're in a full-time job, I do believe that you should have conversation with executives. But if you're an entry-level sales person, talking to the CRO, talking to the CEO, talking to the executive vice president on a daily basis is going to be a little more difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. I don't think it is. I think that is important. But when you're an intern, your job is literally to soak up as much information as possible. It is to be a sponge. It is to drink from a fire hose and find capacity to put that water. Let me say that again because that just came to me and it was pretty good. Drink from a fire hose. Think of that. Actually, just imagine that. Imagine how large a fire hose is and how fast that water comes out. All of the water in that hose is your information, and you have to consume it in some capacity. So figure out how to consume all of that information and figure out a place to put it, whether that is writing it down, whether it's taking notes on a computer, whether that's storing it in your brain, sticky notes. Like, write all of that information down and consume as much as possible in the we'll call it 3-ish months in an internship. Right? Understand why the business you're working at operates the way that they do. Why, if I'm going to do a tax internship, why am I doing these taxes for this company in particular? What type of company is it? What type of clients are my company asking for? What type of clients do we have? Why do we have those clients? Right? If you're in the sports hospitality business, understand the buying habits of clients. What do they want and why do they want it? Shout out Tyson Group again. Allison, that's twice I've shot you out in 2 or 3 episodes now. We need a partnership. What are we doing? What do they want? Why do they want it? Are they doing it for entertainment reasons, hospitality, recruiting, employment, new business? Why are they doing it? One of the biggest pieces of an internship is understanding the business. The most important piece in an internship, in my personal opinion, and I would assume in most other opinions as well, connections and relationships. Connections and relationships is the single most important thing that you can have and create while doing an internship. Hands down, no questions asked. It is not about making money in an internship. If you can break even an internship, you win. It is about the connections and the relationships. Can you craft and develop strong relationships that will lead to referrals or references moving forward? Can you learn from these connections and relationships that you have built on how to continue to move forward? Because remember, if you're an internship, for 90% of people, except for those smart people that didn't get a job and are doing an internship because you're geniuses, most people will roll over and die, but you're not going to because you're elite. Remember, you're going to go back to school for most of them. So not only should you learn what you can in the 3 months, but you should learn how in the next 9 months so you can prepare to come back to that company or to a different company for a full-time role. I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to. Internships are an interview. You interviewed for an internship and you got it, but that is an interview. That is not a job. That is an interview. We had someone, I don't even know who it is, so I can't even say their name because I don't know who it is. We had an intern come in that somehow booked a meeting with our executive vice president on Thursday or Friday, yesterday. The intern didn't show up. You're telling me that you do all this work to book a meeting with the executive vice president of a billion-dollar company, and you're not even going to have the decency to show up? This is why it's easy to get jobs in the sports industry. This is why it's easy to be elite in any industry that you want, is because people suck. So just be the person that doesn't suck. Listen, the sports industry is very tight-knit. Everyone knows anyone. I actually talked to a client yesterday outside of the sports industry, and he told me that everyone in his industry knows who does those jobs. We'll call them a building company. They're a building, they build. And he's like, listen, as soon as a building goes up, everybody knows who's doing that job. As soon as a job gets done, everyone knows who does it. Because one, that company knows and wants to make sure that they're advertising in the correct light. Right? So everybody knows what they're doing. It's a tight-knit community in most industries. Everyone, listen, you never know where a prior connection could reappear in your life. Right? You could just open a drawer one time and there's a connection in that drawer. It could be 5, 10 years, 15 years down the road. I had a connection that I made in one of my first interview processes of Teamwork Online when they did an outing. And that manager who I interviewed and I connected with right before my first internship is now my vice president 6 years later, which made that internship or that interview a lot easier. In my first job, my first career path, another vice president, so the Dolphins have 3 different verticals. It was F1, Miami Open, Miami Dolphins. In that first job, I connected with everybody in the sports organization, everybody across all 3 verticals. And guess what? A VP of Formula One actually gave me a referral to my now direct report. So everybody knows everybody. Connections and relationships are where you need to make your bread and butter when doing an internship. 100% of the time. Now, here's something that I also believe you're not really going to like. Your day-to-day in an internship actually doesn't matter. What you do during your day-to-day in an internship actually doesn't matter. Here's why. Let's say you're getting into sales and you make 200 phone calls. Let's just call it every week. Those 200 phone calls are not going to get you a job. If you work on one project in an internship, University of Iowa goes out to San Diego, and for a couple of weeks, they work on one project and they present to the board. That project, what the project actually is, doesn't matter. Stay with me. It doesn't matter. If you're a coach, that one play call that works doesn't actually matter. It's not going to get you a job. Here's what's going to get you a job in a career path. It's your preparation, because you prepared. You studied film all night as that coach, and that one play call was a product of your preparation. Was understanding the players during practice and who goes with what, who's better at what. That's what's going to get you a career path. That's what's going to get you the job. That one project that you work on all summer long and you present it, whatever that material actually is, doesn't matter. It's the connections that you make throughout the internship. It's the hard work and dedication that you had to the project when your teammates did not. It's the leadership that you provided to get your teammates to work together on that project. It's the questions that you asked your boss on, can you help me? I'm stuck right now and I want to move forward. It's understanding how the client works. What does the client need? What do they want? What makes the client tick? It's not the 200 phone calls as a salesperson. It's every single phone call you learning what the client wants, how they tick, why are they buying. It's understanding how to be efficient with all of the work that you are doing as an intern, learning from your bosses and how they got their position. That is what gets you a job down the road, not what's actually on the screen in that presentation. And I don't think a lot of people have ever heard that before. And I think it might be controversial because you could work a full summer on one project and you really, really care about what is on that project and what's on slide 3, and you need to memorize slide 4 and 5 because of the transition here and the numbers there and the if you could connect with your boss and create a great relationship and learn how that organization works, you're going to be in a way better position. I promise you that. Because you have to consistently stack your wins. Think of it this way. If you do this whole presentation all summer and all you did, I don't know why I'm stuck in this presentation, but I think it's a great analysis of like what internships are like. If you work all summer, you don't talk to anybody, all you do is work on this single project, and let's say it comes out perfect, but none of your bosses know you, nobody knows who you are, you just came in from 9 to 5, worked on the project and left, that's it. All you have to show at the end of the summer is that project. You get one chance, it's just that project. But what if you consistently stack your wins? What if you're doing the little things correctly, the tedious things, the details, overtime, right? All of that turns into credibility for your work ethic and your character. What about gaining experience? Gaining experience in an internship, you cannot put a monetary value on. Let's say you take an unpaid internship with the New York Rangers, who are in the playoffs right now. Actually, they might have just got bounced. I don't even know. That's kind of bad. I don't follow hockey that much, sorry. Let's say you take it as a sophomore in college. You're investing now to pay dividends in the future, right? You're investing now to pay dividends in the future. Think of it this way. If you put $100 in the stock market today, do you expect 1,000 in 3 months? No, you don't. And if you do, you're insane. You need to learn the market a little bit better. You put $100 in the stock market today, in 3 months, do you expect 1,000? No. However, you could expect 1,000 in 3 or 4 years, but that takes time. And in addition to that, you probably need to put some more investing into that account in order to get it to grow to the place that you want it to be, right? Why should the main focus of internships be on making money? Because in the grand scheme of things, all you're doing is investing, and you need to invest into your future. All right, I got one more point. Stick with me here. We got one more point. We are rocking and rolling, and we are going to end in a fiery way today. Asking questions. When you're an intern, you should ask more questions per day than anybody else on the floor. Well, what if my question's bad? What if people don't like my questions? What if I annoy somebody? I'm super uncomfortable asking questions. Get over it. Questions are what is going to propel you. I still ask more questions than anybody on my team, almost to an annoying amount. Now I know where that line is. Now that I'm 3 years into my career, I should probably know a little bit about what I'm doing. But I still ask more questions than anybody on my team, hands down, right? Here's an illustration. Let's say you walk into a hardware store and you have no idea where the power saw is, right? You ask someone who's there, who's been there, who's educated in the process, probably has worked there for a little bit. You walk into the store, you say, hey, ma'am, I need to know where this power saw is. She's like, you know what? Follow me. Takes you right there. It takes 1 minute. Okay, that's great. Was it a little uncomfortable to ask that question? Yes. But what did you need? You needed to learn where the power saw was. How'd you get there? You asked somebody, where's the power saw? And they showed you. Let's say you don't ask. You've never been to this store before. You walk around for 10, 15, 20 minutes looking for it. Finally found it. And what'd that gain you? A little pride? A little sense of accomplishment, maybe? Maybe make yourself feel a little bit better, a little fluffy? But guess what? You just wasted all of that time. It seems relatively insignificant to some people, but it's not. Because why be prideful and think you can do it all when there are people in this organization? If you're in an internship, there are people in that organization who have been there for a while. People have been in your position before, just starting out. Why would we not ask them how they got to where they are? Why would we not ask people like the leadership team, right? Why would we not ask individuals what the culture is like, what the city's like, what the job is about, what are the growth opportunities? Put your pride aside and just ask. Just ask. Asking questions is a talent, is a skill. It is not a nuisance. The best podcasters in the world actively listen and ask great questions. And actually, I hope you find value in my questions next week. Right? I hope you find value in my questions next week, because next week we interview one of the top people in the sports industry who also happens to be the president and CEO of one of Jerry Jones's companies and knows the Jones family very well and talks to their owner often. You're not going to want to miss next week. Next week is going to be absolutely elite. Next week's episode's already recorded when this one comes out, because we had to rent a full podcast. We had to dial it all up for you guys because this is how big it is. Hunter and I actually woke up. I was up at 4:30. I don't know how early you were up. 4:30? Hunter and I were up at 4:30. We drive to this podcast studio. We're at the podcast studio, ready to rock and roll 6 a.m. because our guest was super busy and we wanted to value time with them and we wanted to be prepared. We go to a podcast studio we've never gone to before. We have a video editing guy there. He teaches us all about it. And we absolutely killed that episode. Hunter's preparation, my preparation was elite for this episode next week. So you need to listen next week. You actually don't need to share this episode. I love if you do. Next week's, you do need to share. I haven't asked for a ton from y'all throughout this podcast so far, but I am asking that next week you share it with everyone that you know, because we hear from one of the top individuals that we can possibly hear from. So that's what I got for you guys today. I, as always, ask you to share. Again, if you don't want to share this week and do next week instead, that's cool. I'm good with that. Next week's a big one. But I love you guys. I hope this is impactful. Share episodes with us. DM us on Instagram. Shoot me a LinkedIn message so we can continue to help you. Let's continue to grow together and inspire others.